Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Today and for the next 3 weeks we're going to look at what is probably the most famous proverb of all. In fact, both the verses we're going to look at are the most searched for proverbs on the internet. But why do people want to look for them? Well, in one way they're quite comforting because they remind us that God is in control. But they're also quite challenging, as we'll see. Now, last week we thought about God being a strong tower that we can run to when things get difficult. Well, today's verses are going to show us how we can run to God so that he can help us. And over the next few weeks we're going to see how with God's help we can splat the problems that we face. And yes, I did say splat. No, not on to the side. One day 2 women came to Solomon to ask him to settle an argument. One of the women explained, "My master, this woman and I live in the same house. 3 days after I had a baby, this woman also had one. One night when we were alone, the woman rolled over on her baby in her sleep. She got up in the middle of the night and took my son and put her dead baby in my bed. When I got up in the morning to feed my son, here was this dead baby. I knew straight away that he wasn't my baby." "That's not true," said the other woman. "The living one's mine, the dead one is yours." And they continued to argue in front of the king. After a moment the king said, "Bring me a sword." Then he said, "Cut the living baby in 2, give half to one and half to the other." The real mother of the living baby screamed, "Please don't kill my baby. Your Majesty, I love him very much, but give him to her. Just don't kill him." But the other one said, "Go ahead and cut him in half. Then neither of us will have the baby." King Solomon said, "Don't kill the baby." Then he pointed to the first woman. "She is the real mother. Give the baby to her." Word soon got round that God's wisdom helped Solomon to judge wisely. So how do these verses help us to splat the problem? Well, we're going to use the letters that make up the word splat to help us to remember. Now we're going to start with the letter S, and that stands for submit. Now if you were listening carefully to our proverb, you would have heard it said, "In all your ways submit to him." But what does submit mean? Well, we've already thought about that when we looked at the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. To submit to God is to fear God. That is to love him, to obey him, to respect him deeply, and to devote ourselves to serving him. It's our word Lord. Now that's not something that we start to do when we get into difficulties. We're told in all your ways submit to him. We should fear God all of the time, whatever we're doing, so that our S is there to remember to submit to him. But then we have the letter P. P stands for pray. Whenever we face difficulties or challenges at school, at home or anywhere, God wants us to take it to him by praying to him, asking him for help. We don't have to wait until our bedtime prayers. We should pray anytime, wherever we are or whatever we're doing. By sharing with God the things that are troubling us, it allows us to submit ourselves to him and to trust him to help us. After all, if we didn't think God could help us, why would we ask him? Nothing is too small or too big for God to help us with. He is just as concerned with the little things that trouble us as he is the big problems. There's another proverb in chapter 15 verse 29 that tells us that God is far from the wicked, but he hears the prayer of the righteous. When we invite Jesus to be part of our lives and we submit ourselves to him, we become those that the Bible calls the righteous, even though we're not perfect. So when we submit to God, he hears our prayers and helps us. Isn't that amazing? So here's our first two letters to splat the problems that we face. Firstly, we need to submit to God by making sure that we're doing everything we can to follow God, loving, obeying, respecting and devoting ourselves to follow him. But secondly, our P reminds us that we can hand every problem, however big or small, over to him in prayer.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean upon your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean upon your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. That's Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6. Let's hear it, kids. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean upon your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean upon your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. That's Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean upon your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean upon your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. That's Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6. Here we go. That's Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6. One last time. That's Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6.